learning target, solving it, we're not graphing, we're just solving absolute value equations today. We're just bumping it up. We're used to solving absolute value equations, and we're used to making the positive and negative case. By used to it, I mean the past 2 days. So it's really still kind of a critical thinking struggle it can be to remember to make your cases and how to go about that process. But today we're going to bump it up. We're going to have to solve absolute value equations when the absolute value sign isn't alone. So I want you to box off absolute value alone. I want you to box that off. You cannot make your cases until the absolute value sign is alone. Once the absolute value sign is alone, then you can make your cases. It's either positive or it's negative. But until the absolute value sign is alone, you cannot do it. How do you get the absolute value sign alone? Well, you move what's not connected to it, just like normal solving. You move what's not connected, and then you move what is connected. Okay? So we're going to move what's not connected to it, and then what is. Moving on. So, again, let me just reiterate for the 1000th time. You cannot make your cases until your absolute value sign is alone. In order to get it alone, you move what's not connected to it first, and then move what is. Then cases. And then maybe you want to write, then make cases. What a lot of 8th graders do is they make their cases right away. Write it down. And you can't make your cases until your absolute value sign is alone. Okay. So, I'm going to just do the 2 examples here. I'm looking at my directions and it says think about what you need to do to get the absolute value sign alone and then create cases. So let's think. What's the first thing that you would do to get the absolute value sign by itself? Think about it. I want to see more hands up. I see 3 and 4 and 5. Hands up. What's by the absolute value sign? How do you move that 1? So the first thing I'm going to do is move my 1. And now what do I have left? The absolute value. I have this whole thing left. That whole thing comes down. I have the absolute value of 3x minus 4 equals 11. And oh, good gracious, I have no room. Now my absolute value sign is alone. I can make my cases. Here's how I make my cases. I say I make my positive case, 3x minus 4 equals 11. And I make my negative case. 3x minus 4 equals negative 11. Don't make your cases first. Then you solve both cases. Plus 4, 3x is 15. Divide, x is 5. Next one. Plus 4, 3x equals, you have to subtract them because they're different. If I add 4, so what would that be? Negative 7. X equals negative 7/3. Now typically, this and this would go under here. I just didn't have room. I create that T-chart. That's where that would go. I just didn't have room. So absolute value sign alone, then make your cases. Absolute value alone, make case. Absolute value alone, make case. So you've made cases for 2 days, but you haven't had to make the absolute value sign alone. Okay, 4 times the absolute value of 2x equals 8. What do I I need to move? Tell somebody next to you. Heard it. I heard it. Isabel, what do you think I need to move?
The 4.
Yep, because the absolute value sign isn't alone. It's by this 4. So I need to move that 4. That's 4 times the absolute value. How do you get rid of times? So I'm going to divide both sides by 4. And now I have the absolute value of 2x equals 2. Now it's alone, right? It's all by its lonesome on that side. Now make your case. 2x equals positive 2 or 2x equals negative 2. Solve both. X is 1. Solve both. X is negative 1. Is it always where it's a number and it's opposite? No, because we proved that right here. I have 5 and negative 7/3. The only time it's a number and it's opposite is when it's multiplying or dividing. Okay, what's your next page in your notes look like?
Example.
Oh, let's try it. Yep, let's try it. So, I'm going to give you a minute here before I solve these for you to give it a shot. Okay, so our strategy is to get absolute value alone. So I'm going to write absolute value alone. You know what? It's probably easier in my brain to say alone cases. So it's first I get it alone, then I make my cases. Alone case, alone case. So I need to get it alone first. Absolute value of x plus 4 equals 9. It's alone. Now I make my case. X plus 4 is 9. That's my positive. Or x plus 4 is negative 9. Minus 4, minus 4. X equals 5. Minus 4, minus 4. X equals negative 13. Alone case. Alone case. I'm not alone. I got to get rid of this and then it's by itself. So I'm going to move minus 5 by adding 5 to both sides. Okay. Now I have the absolute value of 2x minus 7 equals 9. Now case. Alone case. Alone case. Sometimes you don't have to get it alone. Sometimes it is alone. But there's going to be times where you have to get it alone first. Two cases now. It's either positive 9 or 2x minus 7 is negative 9. Add 7, 16. 2x equals 16. X is 8. Add 7. 2x is negative 2. X is negative 1. Okay, next one. Alone case. Is it alone right now? No, what's by it? Minus 4 is by the absolute value, so I need to move minus 4. So I'm going to plus 4. And I get the absolute value of 3x is 9. Now it's alone. Now I make my case. 3x equals 9 or 3x equals negative 9. Solve. X is 3 or negative 3. It's a lot of math, don't you think? Alone case. So my absolute value sign isn't alone right now. I have minus 6 on the same side. So I need to move that minus 6 first before you make your cases. So I'm going to plus 6, plus 6. The absolute value of x minus 4 equals 11. Now cases. X minus 4 is positive 11. x minus 4 is negative 11. X is 15. X is negative 7. Plusing 4. Okay? So that's your learning target today. There is one added thing. You, I know for a fact, are going to have one. Oh, easy peasy. This is a good one. I know you're going to have one that is a no solution. How do you know if it's a no solution? You're going to have one that's no solution. I want you to look through your notes right now and tell me, how do you know if it's a no solution? It's there. I promise, I think. Ooh, I see 2 hands up. I promise. Connor, how do you know?
So there's like a negative.
If there's a negative, what about it? Because I have a negative here, but that's not a no solution. Jada?
If it's like the first.
If it's like that first case. If it's a negative right away. Okay, so like no solutions would be x minus 4, the absolute value of x minus 4 equals negative 3. That's no solution. You have to create your negative case. So this is no solution because it's negative.
So you want to have one word.
Nope, you just right away say no solution. And one of yours looks like that. What about this one? Do I have a solution for this one? The absolute value of 2x equals 6.
Yes.
The absolute value of negative 4x equals 0.
No. Yes.
Is 0 negative?
No.
So then yes, it's a solution. Only negatives are no solution. The absolute value of negative 2x minus 3 equals negative 1.
No solution.
No solution, because it's negative. So you have to be able to identify that. I forgot to do one like this. Do you think you know how to get the absolute value sign alone?
Divide by
Deja,
5.
what do you think?
You times it by 5.
Times it by 5, right? Because it's absolute value of x plus 2 divided by 5. To move divide, you times. Absolute value of x plus 2 equals 10. Cases. Now case. X plus 2 is 10. X plus 2 is negative 10. That's your target today.